So when we last left off,
Yep.
hi, I'm CJ, and this is Paddy Stardust.
Hello.
And in the first part, Paddy had found Demon Souls after not really liking it at first, and then coming back to it and becoming very addicted and hammering his way through it in rather impressive time. And
There was a lot of level farming in there as well.
No, you still did it a lot quicker than I did. And now, well, in the first part we were talking about Paddy's adventures with Demon Souls and his expectations of Dark Souls, and now you've got it.
Yeah.
And when I set up a character to sort of mirror yours, so you were going for Hunter, if I remember rightly.
Incredibly correct. Yes.
And at the point where I spoke to you, you were like, "Oh, I'm going to go through the tutorial, and then I'll leave it there." And so I sort of monkeyed through the tutorial and enjoyed it myself again. With a different class of character that I hadn't used before. And then I sent you a message on PSN. You were like, "Oh, yeah, trolleying around in Lordra." And I was like, "You've kept going, you swine."
Well, I was kind of...
then realised that addiction had bitten probably harder than you realised.
Pressing the stop button is harder than you'd think.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is episode 2. Let's call it Baby Steps.
Okay.
It's a good name for episode 2.
Realised baby steps and...
Baby Steps.
Yeah, so tell tales.
Yes. Before we tell tales, let's just before we begin properly, we've had a few suggestions for what to call this thing, because the Padcraft isn't ideal.
I still don't think we've hit upon the perfect one, but we've had a few giggles.
Yeah. The Coffee Pad was a good suggestion. I think that was Saber Swinger. I'm okay with the Coffee Pad. This is on
the Polygon forums for those that are tuning in via YouTube and Tumblr and the other places.
All the places that we put this. Yes, on the Polygon forums, in the post where we talk about this on the Polygon forums, we've had the Coffee Pad, which is clever because it's got both our names in it. Guy called Leverum suggests Paddy Stardust in the Valley of Fear, which makes me laugh. What was the other one? Soulsian Tales.
And then there was the one that I came up with this morning, because there's a kind of coffee influence, and there's Paddy Stardust, and we could call it, and because we both have our idiotic moments, we could be Starbucks.
Yoo-hoo!
But maybe that won't translate into the Americas, because it is...
I know the Americans like Starbucks, I think. Tell us if we're wrong, but I think the Americans have Starbucks, and they are all about that.
No, but the term Burke...
that's true.
...is an English colloquialism meaning Egypt.
Foolish person.
Yes. Well done.
Pillar.
Anyway.
So yes, now we're beginning our Polygon Dark Souls podcast. We've not decided the name on. Yes, I jumped into the tutorial. I spent somewhere in the region of 25 minutes making sure my guy looked right. Because that's important. You know, I've got to look at him for like another God knows how long. So it's like in... Like in Skyrim, like Oblivion, you know, Fallout, that sort of game. I spend usually a good 20 minutes getting my character right, because you've got to make them look, you know, decent. So my guy ended up looking like an amazingly paler version of myself, which I'm quite pale to start with. And he ended up sort of this kind of ghostly sort of white skin. And it was like, yeah, it'll do. That'll do.
On the Dulux charts, this would probably just be matte white.
Yeah. Yeah, a sort of icy colour, shall we say. It's very, very pale skin. So yeah, made that.
So why the choice of Hunter?
Choice of Hunter because I played Hunter in Demons, and it did. I think it starts you off with a bow and arrow and an axe in Demons. And that was a good introduction because I could kind of mix it around a bit, and he was kind of good at a couple of different things. Mainly the bows and the stabbing stuff, which is kind of what I was going to do anyway. So I'll stick with that. And so far, I mean, that's probably the strategy that I'm going to take here as well. Because I did spend more time with my physical attacks and my bows than I ever did with the magic. So I thought I'll stick with what worked last time. I'm not going to pick a bog standard, you know, warrior, because I always pick a bog standard warrior. So I'll pick a hunter, a bit more knockabout, bit more roly poly, and go from there. And as far as the tutorial goes, it was a good choice because I don't think I died at all in the tutorial.
To jump back a little bit, what influenced your choice of gift? Because I believe you chose the Tiny Beings ring.
I did. I chose the choice of gift because of lies and deceit.
I wondered if it was Demon Souls, because that was one of the first rings I think you got in Demon Souls.
Yeah, it was the first one I got that I put on. I was like, yep, this is never coming off. Which was the health regen ring. And in Dark Souls, it's like, oh, these gifts, and like some of them are like, oh look, a few fire bombs. It's like they're going to run out really quick. What's the point? Yeah. I saw the Master Key and I thought maybe that might be useful, but I'm sure you'll find keys for stuff anyway. And I saw this ring that said regens health, like gives you your health regenerates. It's like, that's really clever, brilliant. I can buy that straight away, have that for free, and crack on. Start the game up, it just gives you a slight bonus onto your maximum health. It's a complete lie.
The best one of those was the amulet, because the director Miyazaki, when interviewed and asked which one he'd go for, he said he'd go for the amulet, but nobody's figured out sort of what it is yet.
Yeah,
and there was a ton of speculations as to what it might be, if there's a certain portion of the game where it clicks in, as to whether maybe when DLC arrived that it opened up a new area.
Yeah,
and Miyazaki was absolutely trolling people.
Yeah,
there's nothing. But I wonder if there might be a double round with that there is actually something that it does that nobody's figured out yet, and that he's just waiting for the right time. But
hit 9 parries in a row and it will flash and give you all your health back.
I don't know. I mean, the great thing about the Master Key is that it allows you to access a few areas that you wouldn't do normally. Particularly, a lot of people sort of mention a dislike of Blighttown, but the back entrance to Blighttown is accessible early on with the Master Key, and is a lot easier to get through. In fact, I still don't go through the main area of Blighttown. I just kind of sneak my way around back, like
around the outside, being
like
quiet.
Some sort of terrified cat walking across the top of the fence, looking in at the dogs below and starting to walk like someone wearing heels. Look at me prancing on your fence. Except there's not usually a swamp.
Yeah.
Down the other side. But yes, tell tales of tutorial fun.
Yes, tutorial. I potted around. I followed all the signs on the floor, and it's all because it's kind of basic stuff, really. So I'm kind of, it was quite easy to start with my broken sword hilt. I also killed a guy and felt bad about it. I'm not sure if he was tutorial or the bit afterwards, and he's like, I'm almost dead, please take this, whatever, so you can get out. And I think I killed him.
I think that's a kindness, though, because
and he said, but when he died, he was like, no, why? And I'm thinking, you just asked me to kill you.
But rather than having a slow death, I think you end him quickly, and he does seem to be the person that threw the body with the key down towards you anyway at the start of the game. So.
Yeah. So he's helpful, and then I've repaid him with steel,
with death.
Yeah, and I also I ran around a corner. I got the shield. If you pick up your first shield, just kind of round a corner, which I did. That's fine. Ran past, chased the archer guy who runs away from you up the stairs. Then proceeded to wail on him with the sword hilt without realising I'd left a sword behind. And I was thinking, this is rubbish. I'm walloping him, and he's betting like 5 damage every time. This is pants. What's going on? So I kind of ran away a bit. Looked at my inventory and realised, I picked the sword up, didn't I? Switched out, run up and killed him in 2 hits. So, if I was paying attention, that would have been much easier.
Even after all this Demon Souls experience and how I thought you were going to run into it, you were still making schoolboy errors.
Yep. That's not the worst thing that happened.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a bit. I went through, jumped on the big fat guy, the Taurus demon. Took him out all right, actually. He was okay. He wasn't too bad. After fighting the Vanguard in Demons, it's kind of the same kind of boss.
Uh-huh.
Big fat guy, has a big weapon, and will occasionally jump up and sit on you. So I use the same tactics, really. Just kind of try and stay behind him, dodge roll under his attacks, and just back off when he does a big butt stamp. And yeah, I used all my Estus flask up, but I got rid of him in one go, and I kind of felt proud of that.
Did you notice the little caveat to that as you were going through the rest of the level? That there's a little peek through some railings that.
Yes. Yes, I was walking. Yeah, walking. You look over the side, like, oh, he's huge.
Yep.
You can kind of hear him stomping about as well, which I kind of like because you can hear that he's nearby.
Yeah, it's great because you've got all this triumph that you've managed to take out a boss, and then all of a sudden you can still hear like boom, boom, boom.
But the problem was I was doing it, and I kind of killed him. Thought, right, brilliant, he's dead. Potted around a little bit more as you do, just making sure I got everything, and then I could kind of still hear kind of like a sort of quite a deep sort of boom, boom. I was like, is he still here?
When he first landed, did you run through the door and it slammed behind you?
Yes.
Or did you just take him on straight away?
Panicked, ran.
Yeah.
Because I saw a sign on the floor that said "run." I was like, okay.
Because there is that degree of kind of panic, shing. Am I safe?
When
the grill comes down, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for the door shutting. That scared me more than the giant guy dropping on me because I knew he was coming. But yeah, the door slamming behind me was more of the panic. Shabam! What the fuck was that? So yeah, no, that went well. Tutorial was easy. Well, easy enough. Potted through it, got rid of the guy, nice and good. Headed through to the real place via a giant crow, which was weird.
Lordran, and those visuals as you fly in are just sumptuous because it gives you such a gorgeous view of such a dark place, and it's I don't know, that's the duality of there because I love the sense of design work anyway, but to see it from such a distance and then to be dropped into it is foreboding on the one hand, but it does make you feel very insignificant.
Yeah, it's like I'm a tiny thing in the middle of this giant world.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that moment in Fallout when you step out of the vault for the first time, and it's like, holy crap, where do I go now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's that kind of sort of, you're like, okay, there's a lot to do here.
But I like that.
Where do we start?
Too many games these days that you feel like a superhuman. And
being pushed through a corridor.
Yeah, and this, there was the playthrough that Russ Frustick did on Polygon.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't show you where to go, and he went down towards the skeletons at first, and you got that wonderfully droll piece of dialogue from Mike McWhirter, where he's like, "If something's killing you 30 times, what's that saying to you, Russ? Like, that I shouldn't go there? No, that you shouldn't go there."
I didn't make that mistake either. I didn't go. I think I went the right way at the start.
But these are all instincts that gamers used to have.
Whereas now we assume that anything in front of us can be killed.
Yeah, if I can go down that direction, surely I can progress. But, if the instinct's saying, don't crack on, try somewhere else.
Yeah, it's that old, I suppose it's that old kind of Nintendo hard thing of the wall of meat is the official name, the official trope name for it. When there's a guy that's literally so tough you cannot beat him until you've gone away, made yourself a bit better, and come back. It's a good way of like RPGs like blocking off side quests by putting something ridiculous at the front. It's like, come back later, boy. It's okay.
Yeah, I have seen stuff where people have headed into the skeletons. I mean, if you
got the skills for it, yeah.
I mean, if you do a speed run on that bit from the off, there's some tasty weapons hiding there. And I've also seen sort of admittedly more experienced players that head down beyond the skeletons, still do a speed run and get to the enemies and stuff. So it's not a wall in particular. It's a suggested wall.
Yeah.
It's a soul sign to say turn back, ye hardy.
Are those regular zombies too babby for you? Is it not hard enough? Try this. Make it way harder.
But like I say, there is a few bits that are around there for those that those that fancy a bit of a speed run. Admittedly, sort of one of the weapons there could take a little bit of grinding to get up towards, but there are seriously so many options from there. I mean, you can, for something that I only really discovered on a recent playthrough, was that if you go from Firelink Shrine down into the New Londo Ruins.
Firelink being the place you start.
Yep. New Londo Ruins, you go down an elevator to, and it's, in general, it's a level that is best tackled later on. But if you explore the early part of the New Londo Ruins, you actually find someone that will sell you magic from the off.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So if you have explored, if you have gotten to there,
if you're brave enough.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, once from Firelink, once you go down the elevator, you can pretty much get to this merchant without fighting anything if you don't want to. And he will sell you a catalyst and magic. Likewise, if you've got the master key, there's another place from New Londo Ruins you can unlock and go through near to the back entrance to Blighttown.
Yeah.
And you can pick up a sword that, once again, if you're doing a magic playthrough, there's a sword that scales with magic, which will push you on again. But these are only things that I've really put two and two together with on recent playthroughs, and it's like, wow, you can more or less do this from the off.
Yeah.
So you've got options. It's not set in stone that you've got to go down a certain path, or even a couple of branching pathways with one decision to make. There's tons of variables you can kick in.
Yeah, I mean, even I've noticed as far as even the individual place, because I headed up to Undeadburg, is it the first place?
Cool.
Yep. So that's where I first made my first trip up the stairs into there, and it's very intricate. It's a very layered kind of area, and it's very lots of little passages and little corners and odd ladders here and there, and it's very twisty turny. I've been ambushed so many times. I think you look ahead, you think, right, there's three guys there. I think I can do that. You walk forward 5 steps, and one jumps out of an alleyway you didn't look at.
I think you've got the aspect as well where you can be taking those little baby steps and going forward, and then one of them will just lean back and throw a firebomb at you.
Yes.
It's just like, yeah, you've played Demon Souls, haven't you? Right, have a bit of this.
Do you like firebombs? Here's 5 guys throwing firebombs at you. Oh, good, great, awesome, smashing. But yeah, I'm prodding along okay in the Undeadburg. I'm getting a bit pro at parrying. Is the thing I've got good at now. Because I was okay at it in Demon Souls, and I got steadily worse as the game went on.
That's because I recommended to you that
hide behind a door.
You hide behind a fire door, yeah.
Yeah, but I currently don't have a door, so I'm because I don't have a door at the moment. I've just got a regular shield. I think it's one of the box standard ones that you start with, like one of the pointy knight-looking shields. But I can parry with it. And just running around, I think the first campfire you find in Undeadburg, a little one inside a tower. And I've just been kind of pottering in and out of there and experimenting with the parry. And I've got to a point where I can almost do it every time against certain enemies now.
Fantastic.
Which is helping a lot. It doesn't work so well when I've got 3 or 4 of them piling on at once, because you've got to, watch where the weapon's going. But after some experimentation, I'm getting the parry and the riposte almost every time now. And that feels good to nail that.
Have you encountered the merchant near there?
I have found the merchant, yes. The two guys, because you go up the sideway, and there's the guys with the spears who hide behind their doors.
They're sort of. We had a song at school, which was, I know a song that'll get on your nerves, get on your nerves, get on your nerves. I know a song that'll get on your nerves,
get on your nerves.
Yeah, it feels like that when I'm kind of twatting the side of their shield with a sword. It's like, I know a ting that'll get on your ting, and sort of waiting to the point where they're like, you swine!
Drop your sword, you bastard!
And then I jump round the back of them and.
Yeah, circling around and backstabbing has been working wonders as well. But yeah, I can parry those guys now, and it works almost every time.
You can draw them out a little bit by doing the I know a song that'll get on your nerves kind of occasional twats on the side of their shield and wait for them to move.
Back off.
Yeah, but the merchant that's just down from there, who disturbingly has either an invisible friend or someone a relative that they've lost, or a dog or something like that you can't
Some
see.
sort of brain problem.
With them. Yeah. But they will sell you. I think there's the heater shield.
Yep.
Which has more stability than possibly what you're holding. I think you might be holding like the wooden shield, or
it's not a round one. If that helps, it's definitely a knight shield shape thing.
Yeah, if you look in your inventory and your stats at the shields, I think the best you might have at the moment is kind of a 93%. I forget what they call it. It's damage reduction, I think it is.
That sounds about right, actually.
Yeah.
That does sound accurate.
I think it might be the wooden shield that you've got, which is near to that bonfire.
Yeah.
If you go to that merchant, I think there's the heater shield, and there might be another one there as well, which has got 100, which will help you a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's a good one to sort of get you on the way. He will also sell you the bottomless box, which
I bought that.
Cool.
Yeah, I bought that already.
There's
a key that he sells that I was going to buy.
The residence key, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the thing I bought the most off him at the moment is arrows, because I am getting through those like no one's business. It's again near that middle bonfire. There is 3 firebomb guys on the roof, and I find it easier just to shoot them out than try and run around the back and take them out, because I always get caught from behind. I always get caught a guy in the middle of the way and just get firebomb from the back, and it takes me out every single time.
But they're another one of those bunches, just like, oh, you're all right, have a bit of this.
We're stood up all the way up here. We're just going to chuck stuff at you for the next 5 minutes. Ha 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 ha. Well, I never run out either.
I love it when you have sort of pyromancy and you take them out, or you chuck a firebomb on them, and they're falling. It's like, I'm falling and I'm on fire.
The double threat.
Yeah, so the duality of the burns and the distance.
And I also learned a lesson.
Okay.
Again, running around Undead I headed down into the lower part of it.
Okay, yeah.
There's some stairs, and you go down, and as you're exploring, as you do, and I could see an item off in the distance, and there was a guy with his back to me, and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sneak up behind him, I'm going to backstab him, and I'm going to go get that item, because this is a genius. I'm going to tiptoe up. So I tiptoed up, as you do, carefully, quietly. Didn't turn around. I was like, okay, good. I've done this. It's going well.
Rocking your inner Elmer Fudd.
Yep.
Very
I'm hunting
quiet.
wabbit. So yeah, creeping up on the wabbit. Got my sword ready. I was like, right, here we go. Crept up behind. Jabbed him in the back.
About now.
Yep, I jabbed him right in the spine. Sort of went, ha! And then I noticed that his health bar hadn't moved. And then he turned around, and it was, I think it's the equivalent of a red eye guy is what I call them.
It's a black knight.
He turned around and he just swung. It took out half my health in one hit and knocked me back. I then panic, run back up the stair, thinking I can't do this, no chance. I ran away. Got ambushed on the way by another couple of guys, kept rolling and just got away, managed to swing an Estus flask on the way, kept running and running and running, found a little 10-foot high ladder onto a roof, clambered up, stood there panicking at the top of the ladder with no Estus left, maybe a quarter of my health left, going, piss! And this black knight starts running around the corner, charging at me. I'm like, oh, bastard! But then a smattering of good luck is that he kind of didn't go for the ladder. He ran around to the side and kind of ran around underneath the back of where I was stood. And
I think I know where this is going, but go on.
Yeah, I looked down off the back of the roof and I could kind of see him on the floor. I thought, I wonder, because the jumping stab worked so well on the asylum demon. I thought, I wonder if I can do that. And as I was contemplating it, he walked off. I was like, okay, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. So he starts walking around very patiently, like he's given up. So I shot him with an arrow. Just one, just to get his attention. He then charged right back to where he was. So I thought, right, going for a jump stab. I'm gonna jump on him and I'm gonna stab him in the head. And I missed.
Oh no!
And I hopped off the edge and I hit R1, but it wasn't locking in. I landed right next to him. He just turned around and twatted me, and then walked away like it wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, there is that degree of absolute ambivalence. That's over with. Right,
You're dead. See you
I'll
later.
go back to that little bit where I'm looking
Yeah,
out
it's
over the
almost
rest of
like,
the city.
well, I think he probably did see me before I stabbed him. I just think he was leaving me alone.
Uh-huh.
I think he didn't care because it's like everyone else has seen me by this point.
If you can get him to that rooftop where you were previously, and you've got any fire bombs, that I think one of their big weaknesses is fire.
I will try that next time that I accidentally run into a Black Knight.
But there was a
Yeah,
thing
it was a very Benny Hill. Holy crap! Holy crap! Holy crap! It's right behind me. Oh Christ! I can see his sword. Oh piss!
but like a
Literally, yeah, panicking. So that was my first meeting of a Black Knight, which it could have gone worse.
Oh no, there is a real degree of trepidation with them, because I think especially with you coming off the back of Demon Souls, there'll be a degree of walking into Lordran and the first Undead Bergen itself is not dissimilar to 1-1 in Demon Souls.
Yeah.
And you may well have been thinking, well, the enemies are doing this and they're doing that, but I'm kind of finding your feet. And then all of a sudden it's this thing with the back to you. And then you scratch at its armour in the most, like a little sparrow with its claws.
You run it through and miss every organ in its body.
Yeah.
But that didn't end well. I've not decided to have another pop at him yet. But I did get far enough to meet the first boss, I believe.
Fantastic.
The Taurus demon, I think.
Yeah.
And he battered me. In 30 seconds, he battered me. Jumped on the bridge. I found the ladder next to the bridge, went up, and because there's two archers who sit on this tower. And if you just run ahead, they shoot you in the ass. So I found the ladder, went up and took care of them first, which I was feeling quite, proud of myself, thinking, being clever, saw them first. Mm-hmm. Hobbled on down the bridge, because I saw a couple of notes before the door saying, big enemy ahead, powerful enemy coming. It's like, oh, great. Mm-hmm. Here we go. So, yeah, trundle on the bridge, halfway across, the Taurus demon jumps down, thinking, right, okay, here we go. And then he sprints at you. And then I think all my composure and all my readiness and all my, right, I've got a plan. Oh my God, he's running. Turned around, pelted it back for the tower, went back up the ladder.
Yeah.
Got to the top of the ladder, looked down, he was on the bottom, down on the thing. I think, right, okay, I've got a minute here, I can take my time. What should I do? Should I shoot him with arrows? I wonder if I can just shoot him with arrows. So I got my arrows out, and I looked down, and then he jumped up on where I was. And then I panicked, and then he knocked me off and he killed me in a couple of seconds. But yeah, my strategy for that didn't work very well, so I'm going to formulate a new one. I think if I roll away behind him, I might be okay.
But that fantastic aspect that we spoke of previously of massive enemy, small area. I mean, 'cause even though you've got the big run up with the actual sort of the top of the castle, there's not a great amount of room to manoeuvre in.
No, it's like if you're in the wrong place, you're dead.
I'll give you a little bit of a tip.
Oh,
for
hot sports tip
for this tip, and it's really something that I only clicked onto with the second playthrough, which was that summoning other people, particularly in Dark Souls, is essentially easy mode.
Okay.
That if you go to that bonfire that you're at currently,
the middle one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have humanity in your inventory.
Yep.
If you turn human, at the bonfire, you should be able to see soul signs on the floor.
Yeah.
And you can pull other people into your game. Now those people will. Well, normally when I've been sort of helping others, they'll take out the Black Knight with you. They'll take you up to the boss and help you nobble him. And obviously, if it's a lot easier with 3 folks there than 1, and you might get people helping you out who are significantly more powerful than you are currently. I've been able to help people out when I'm running with magic, or I've got sort of lightning spears or great lightning spears and that kind of stuff. So it's fun to do, and you'll get past the boss. But if after that you should get something not far shy of there, which will allow you to be summoned into other people's games.
Yeah.
Now this is the greatest aspect of it, because you'll then be able to help other people out in their games and get past the boss with the same regard. But you get a ton of souls for doing so.
Yeah.
Far more than you get for grinding through the level and then resetting things with the bonfire. And it's one of those places where I've built up, 150,000, 200,000 souls within no time.
Yeah.
Just because it's so much fun to do in itself. You're helping other people out and letting them progress in their own games. But, God, the first time I played through it, I got... I mentioned this on the first podcast, but I got the Black Knight sword.
Yeah.
And it took me ages just going through sort of that little bit of a level time and time again, kind of earning about, I don't know, maximum maybe about 800 to 2,000 souls. I can't remember.
Sounds about right from what I've been experiencing, yeah.
But you can do that run up to the boss, and depending on if the person whose game you're jumping into has got the master key, because there's somebody else there's a little door that you can open before you go up to the boss, which will take you down to Havel the Rock, who's a real swine if you're playing it sort of single player. But if you've got a couple of people with magic that can chuck from the top of the stairs and somebody that's battering him from the bottom, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But you can, I don't know the figures exactly, but I reckon you can come away with at least about maybe 15,000 souls from that run.
That's a good run.
And then I wouldn't plough them into levels directly from the start, but you can build up quite a nice little cache.
Yeah. And then try not to lose them.
Well, you headed the game at that point, because you've got an amount of souls there which would have taken you a long time to get towards you. There might be a weapon that you can then wield, or you can level up a few pieces of magic and buy more spells from the guy down in New Londo Ruins. Or the world's your oyster a little bit, because you can then make progress a little bit quicker if you wanted to. But it's tons of fun to jump into other people's games and help them out. And I always love it when folks say thank you via Xbox Live or PSN afterwards. It just adds to that degree of etiquette that's there within the
magical etiquette that has made itself.
Yeah, that's there with the the bowing and the such like in itself. Plus, it's a wonderful moment when there's three of you running through a level, and then suddenly you get invaded, and the invader has no idea that he's going to be coming up against three people. Gank City.
Oh, I've made a mistake. But
yeah, I'll have to try and jump into your game at a certain point.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and my next run on the tourist demon, I will try and turn you. Well, I don't know. I might try and do it on my own first.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know, beating things on your own is kind of it's worth more points.
Yeah.
Secret man points.
Yeah.
And then when I weep and when it has broken me, then I will ask for help. And by the time we do the next one of these, I may very well have beaten him.
It's doable in itself. It's just, once again, the game gives you options as to what you want to do. And
strategies, options, systems.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And that is what I'm going to take through to that. I'm going to see if I can try and beat it myself. And then if I can't, then seek the aid of the wonderful people.
Well, one of the other little tricks of helping people out as well is that you get a sunlight medal for every time you go through a run and defeat a boss and return to your own world.
Right.
You get a little bit of humanity. You get the souls that all two or three of you have earned, and you get a sunlight medal. Now, you've probably seen it on the boards and on the net and stuff. The wonderful Solaire.
I've heard as much. I don't know who he is, but I've heard of Praise the Sun.
I don't think you're too far shy of meeting him for the first time. Solaire is part of the Sunlight Covenant, and a little way, probably a little bit further on than that, you'll find the Sunlight Covenant itself, and you'll get a chance to join them. The Sunlight Covenant makes it a little bit easier to jump into other people's games,
Right.
but you'll find this broken monument, and if you give Sunlight medals to the monument,
Right.
and you join the Covenant, they'll give you a miracle called Lightning Spear, which just literally allows you to chuck lightning bolts, and it's
with the power of Zeus.
It's pretty decent. Yeah, exactly that. It's like the one that you see on the opening video, where I think it's Gwyn pulls back and
that sounds correct.
The lightning bolts are the dragons. And if you chuck a few more of the Sunlight medals in there, if you really stick around and help people out, you'll get the option to level up to Great Lightning Spear, which is a bigger lightning spear, more damage. But that's just another option that'll chuck towards you, and you're going to have tons of these ahead. But the complexity of them and the amount of them that are hidden there means that subsequent playthroughs are, you'll try something different every time, which is part of the fun.
I mean, when I try Demons again, because I will, when I finish this, I think I'll probably go back and play Demons again.
It's a constant cycle.
Yeah, I'll do a magic run, I think. Yeah, because I'm a physical warrior mainly. I like to be, in grills. Magic isn't usually what I pick, so I think I will. If I do go back again, I will end up picking magic. I mean, I don't know. It depends how this playthrough goes of Dark. I might end up wielding some spells.
Well, I mean, my natural instinct,
just in case, yeah,
to hide behind a door, to armor up to the nines, and then sort of move along like a bag of sand on a child's trolley. But in the playthrough,
like a tortoise in quicksand.
Yeah, like Sackboy. Lols.
Oh.
But in subsequent playthroughs that I've done afterwards, I'm trying a magic run on one of the games at the moment. I've got a miracles based character on another one, and the fun of jumping into the likes of your game and Sean's game and stuff is trying those different things out from the start, but leveling myself up so that we're sort of on equal levels, and we can still sort of jump into games and stuff. But
yeah, because that's what I worry about with people joining in, is that they're going to be so high level. It's like they're doing it for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's always.
I don't know. That seems a little bit cheap.
There's always a kind of stat level to the people that can be drawn into your game, and it's sort of a hidden one, if you will. Like, I think if on that bonfire that you're at now, I think if you go above something like level 25, maybe, you'll no longer get summoned in. So you'll have moved on beyond the level where the game thinks that you can help out new people. So you'll get people jumping in that will be, that might have magic or lightning spears and that kind of stuff. But once you get past a certain point, you'll no longer sort of get any action in that sort of place. But
so you can't just get your friend to pop in and you can just stand behind them.
Well, at that point, you might have gotten them past that anyway. But it's not as if you can say level up to level 45 and just keep doing that run, because you'll get to a certain point where the game just won't pull you in anymore.
Which is good, I think.
Yeah,
that's very good.
It keeps a degree of balance, and I know in the new content, I had somebody send me a message on Xbox Live who were looking to defeat. I think they were looking to defeat one of the bad guys there, but they were. I think they were about a level, maybe about 77.
Yeah,
I was soul level 90. Maybe above there, so it was around the same sort of ballpark, but they were a little bit weaker than I was, maybe. So it does
pass that hard limit of.
Yeah, it does scale the levels that you can pull into, of people that you can pull into your game, and likewise, the folks that you can jump into their game as well. But I think that's great.
It's good that it keeps you on a balance, kind of.
It keeps momentum through the game as well. But there's been points where I've sat outside a boss gate and just jumped into other people's games and built up souls.
Mm.
Um,
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, I mean there was one in, I think, Sen's Fortress where I built up and lost 360,000 souls.
Oof.
And then in the course of an afternoon, I think it was a morning and afternoon, or an afternoon and evening, I built it up again. You've got that option. It's not just traditional level grinding and having to go through the same old stuff over and over and over. You've got options where you can get significantly further and a lot more souls just by helping somebody else out.
Yeah, it's a good incentive as well.
Yeah,
it's worth doing. It sounds like it is anyway.
But you've also got that aspect that, when you're human or you're in somebody else's game who's human, you can always get invaded, and that's always a tickle that makes things incredibly interesting.
The few times that happens in Demons were always interesting and panic-ridden.
I'll be interested to see sort of what happens with the invaders.
Right, so my homework for next time then is that I'm gonna turn human. I might stay hollow first. I'll have another couple of cracks at the Taurus demon. If I can't pop him, I'll turn human. Invite some bros. We'll see if we can crack this fella, and see if we can get past the Taurus demon. That's the aim for next time.
Well, there's also the difference between demons and dark with staying human. Demons gave you significantly increased health for being human.
Double, I think.
Dark, and this wasn't apparent to me until much, much later on. I just thought they missed a trick here because, why would I not be hollow? Because there's no difference to my health, and all that human seems to do is allow
invite pain.
Yeah, but there are NPCs that will help in certain battles that you won't see if you're hollow.
Ah.
One of them in particular, who will practically defeat the boss for you. So the incentive to stay human is a great one. You've obviously got the risk of being invaded, but you've also got the chance to see other players and other NPCs that will make your life a little bit easier. So
change the game.
Yeah. What would you say was your biggest surprise from playing Dark Souls after playing Demons?
Biggest surprise? I think it's quite a mundane one. I think it's the way the encumbrance works. Because I noticed when I started, I was kind of nipping around like a little wizard, and then as soon as I kind of put on a shield and a sword, all of a sudden I was, doing not super slow rolls, but slow enough rolls.
Yeah.
It looks like the cut-off for making fast rolls is now, a quarter of your total encumbrance, maybe? Or something like that. And I was thinking, oh, right, I'll keep it under half and I'll be fine. And then sort of started, slowly falling over. So that was probably the biggest surprise for me, that I'm going to have to really kind of try and get that down, because I like nippy rolling, because that's basically how I was getting through Demons at one point. But I mean, I'm getting better at the parry now, so I've got other options available. But it's going to be, see how the play style evolves as it goes through, and tailoring the gear and the setup and equipment loads, that sort of thing, as it goes through, depending on what ends up working.
With regards to the equipment, I'd say to keep zippy, and so you can keep rolling stuff. Because get the heater shield, or there's another one that the same merchant will sell you that's got 100 stability, I think it is.
Okay.
And consider that as the thing that's protecting your top half. Wear sort of a pair of pants just so you don't look like some sort of pervert.
Yeah.
And then you should, obviously you've got the armor from the leggings and the boots as well.
Yeah.
Got your shield held out in front of you, so you're essentially protecting sort of most of your top half anyway. And do that. I think that should help through the early playthroughs to keep your speed up.
Yeah. I shall try. Which is a shame, because I did like that starting leather armor with these kind of cool collars. It kind of, where you start as a hollow and you're a bit zombie, and you're just a zombie but with really pimp collars. It just, something about that image, I just looked, I was like, yep, That's a cool guy right there.
And where would you say the addictions kicked in with Dark? That sort of certain spark, which, you know, obviously coming from the back of Demons, there's always the fear of it being seeming like more of the same. But
I think it was running into that Black Knight. I think was a moment of, okay, they're not playing around. It's nice that the game can still surprise me with that sort of thing. I say that it can, you know what I mean? Like, from Demon straight to Dark, it's nice that I can still get surprised by stuff. But and I can still make absolutely moronic errors, and it's still fun.
The joy of gaming is when you're making moments and memories like that. When there's those points that stop your heart, or where you're talking to folks that love games in general, and you're like, oh man, this happened and this happened, and you know, when you were speaking about it earlier, you were really enthusiastic and, you know, painting pictures as you went with that enthusiasm. So
painting pictures with words.
Yes, I was trying to avoid that. But enthusiasm as the paint. But yeah, it's fun when you do encounter that sort of stuff, and you know, you've got hell of a game ahead of you. I thought about it the other day and was thinking that you know, Dark Souls was an enigma to me, one which I couldn't understand but couldn't leave alone. And before I knew it, I had a ring on my finger and I was married. And the great thing is, I never want to leave. It's just, it has a hold over me.
It tasks you.
But there's a lot of people that are equally as passionate, and you know, I can start new games and I end up sort of coming back towards Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and I think that's what makes the fan base on, you know, the Polygon forums and Tumblr forums in themselves, not Tumblr forums, but Tumblr in general.
Yeah.
So fantastic, because, you know, people keep finding new ways to play the game, new secrets, and they're always putting up artwork, and I genuinely love it. There's still so many people playing the game as well, which is a joy.
It's good. It's got that kind of feeling of, it's that niche game that everyone likes.
Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of, it's not the sort of thing you'd expect to have the kind of community behind it that is there. It's the kind of game you'd expect that a few people would like, but no one else knew about. But it seems to have gripped a lot of people. And it's not a normal,
very influential on games which are being mentioned for the next generation, which is something that we touched upon last time. But I think it's taken people by surprise in the degree of the online interactions, that a lot of people are anonymous to you. There's no vocal interactions, but there's a magic to it that's uniquely its own at this point. So.
Absolutely.
So where to next? Are we going to try and sort of see if I can jump into your game and
yes.
Give
what we'll do is I'm gonna try and spank the Taurus demon, and if I can't do him, I will light the bat signal. I will send up the warning flare, and we'll blow up that thing if it doesn't work. But I will try myself first, because there's no honour in giving up.
But
I am a man.
There's
as a man,
there's no shame in bringing in friends.
There's so much shame. I am a man.
But then we'll play a little bit of Black Knight tennis then as well.
And I'll get spanked.
To me, to you of backstabs.
Just take turns running behind. Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah. So
think
that's what happened next time. So I think let's draw to a close there then.
Yeah.
My name was Paddy. His name was Coffee. Thank you for listening, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Goodbye.
Roll credits.